Guys, what's going on? Welcome to Serial at Midnight, the official YouTube channel of
SerialAtMidnight.com.
My name is Heath.
And I'm Bree.
And we are glad you're here because this is our non-spoiler review for Bumblebee. Our non-spoiler review for Into the Spider-Verse was a hit. And people really enjoyed your opinion and you being here. So welcome back for this non-spoiler review of Bumblebee.
Thanks.
A Transformers story. Bumblebee, a Transformers story.
Totally.
So we saw it today. We saw Bumblebee today. Someone had asked on a live stream 1, live stream 2, was I going to see Bumblebee? Because I'm a huge Transformers fan. I'm a really big Transformers fan.
Yeah.
How big of a Transformers fan do you think?
Huge.
Okay.
Very big.
That's the credit right there. She'd tell it like it is. If I was going to see it and I was like, I'll watch it, but I'm not going to go see it in the theaters because I don't have faith in Michael Bay produced Transformers movies, especially not Michael Bay directed Transformers movies. But word of mouth on this movie was so positive. And so we went today, and I'm really glad that I went. Because as an old school Transformers fan, this movie, like, it ticks off all the boxes. And it never does it in a way that feels too fan servicey, like they're just trying to please the fans and not doing their own thing, not telling their own story. It's got a great story. The Transformers in this movie, which, again, non-spoiler, so I'm trying to be vague, but they are characters. They are valuable characters that have their own arcs. Michael Bay's Transformers movies have strengths and they have weaknesses. The strengths, I think, are their action, the way that he depicts action. He's a fantastic action director. Character stuff tends to get left out mostly altogether. And there's some cool beats in some of those movies with some of the Optimus Prime stuff, but I don't feel like we really get to spend enough time with the Transformers themselves. And in Transformers, in the comics, the cartoon, the continuity for the toys, the Transformers are the main characters. They're the people. We don't need an entree into this universe. The Transformers are the characters. I think maybe the movies have people because you can't have 2 hours of just nonstop wall-to-wall special effect. I mean, you could.
And if you go to Earth, there's people.
Yes. Which is why we'll come back to that.
Okay.
But there's genuine arc in the, like, we care about the Transformers that we see in this movie. Like, we care about Bumblebee. Bumblebee has a story.
Totally.
Bumblebee at the beginning of the movie is not the same as Bumblebee at the end. Bumblebee has an arc. And Haley Steinfeld...
He's a very sympathetic character.
He is. And Haley Steinfeld's character is great.
Yeah. Really is.
She's a fantastic actress. We liked her when we saw her in True Grit, and she's just gotten better.
Yeah.
And she's like 10 years older now, I guess, and she's just getting better and better. But as a Generation 1 Transformers fan, I like when Transformers hit in the mid 80s, I was the perfect age for that. So I had the toys and the comics and I watched the cartoon, and like Transformers was just my life. We played Transformers on the playground. So I've been around for every iteration of Transformers since the beginning. And I have to say that this is really, really faithful to that original Transformers thing. It's a Generation 1. It's a Generation 1 movie. And there, it's not. I won't say that it's a great movie. I don't think it's a great movie, but it's a very good movie. It's solid. Is that fair assessment?
Yeah, I agree.
You played with Transformers 2 when you were a kid, right? Like, you're my age, and so
Yes.
We're peers.
Yes, and yes, I did. Well, I didn't have any, because we were talking about this earlier, but that was a time when toys were divided into boy toys and girl toys. So I had a lot of girl toys, but I had an older brother who had Transformers and Hot Wheels and all that. And when he wasn't home, I went and played with his toys, which I usually preferred to mine. So, yes. But I liked the Transformers.
Boy toys, as they were marketed, like we watched Toys That Made Us, and like, oh, there was a huge market for boy toys in the 1980s. Boy toys were huge. This had a lot of play value, right? Here's how much we enjoyed the movie. When we left the theater, I was like, I gotta go get a Transformer.
Toys.
I gotta
get toys.
I told you in the car. I think I told you in the car. I was like, when I watched the last Transformers the last night, which I did this week. I was exhausted when it was over. I felt like I'd been in a war or something. Not in a good, in a rewarding way, like Saving Private Ryan. I was just exhausted because there's just so much business. And when we left this movie, I was like, I just want to go play with toys. It made me feel, it recaptures, part of it's nostalgia,
Yeah.
But it's not all nostalgia, because nostalgia for nostalgia's sake is empty. But nostalgia, when it's got something behind it, like this movie has a lot of 80s music in it. It has a lot of 80s references in it. But it's not an episode of The Goldbergs. Like it has substance. It has weight to it, and it taps into that continuity that I was talking about, that long-standing Transformers continuity. So when we came out, I was like, I feel like it's 1987 again, and I just want to go play with toys. But it just reminded me, because this is a boy toy, but it's got it's got a ton of play value, right? Because it's a robot. It's a car.
Cool.
It's a car, and it's a robot. You got two toys for the price of one toy.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
So, again, it's not a great movie, but very solid. There are things that I feel like the humor was kind of forced a lot of time. Not all of the time.
No, not all the time.
But some of the time, and that's
sometimes it was organic and it worked.
Yeah. The scene, the scene that made that guy in the theater laugh really loud, really hard. That was really funny, and I was laughing really hard too.
Just not as loudly as he was.
Not as loudly as he was. But sometimes the Michael Bay Transformers movies, all of the Michael Bay Transformers movies, to me, the humor feels very forced. It feels like it's trying so hard. And this movie did feel occasionally like it was trying really, really hard. Too hard. It's not that hard. Transformers are not that hard. The blueprint's laid out. You just got to follow it. But
it was a really good movie. I mean,
you might have liked it more than I did.
Really?
I don't know.
Maybe I'm not as particular.
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen all of the Transformers.
You don't have a Bumblebee shirt.
I haven't read. I don't. That's how you know I'm not as. I'm not as all in like you are.
But you have a Wheeljack shirt, which is like a whole other thing. What do you think about John Cena in this movie?
I mean, we like John Cena.
We do like John Cena.
I think he was fine. I mean, there wasn't anything.
I'm just going to do that under
me talking about John Cena. Okay.
It's the franchise. Okay.
I don't know that he was like spectacular. I think that he took on a role that was very much like
in his comfort zone.
In his comfort zone, yeah. Like
he is a certain thing. He does not seem to have the levels that like a Dwayne Johnson has.
Well, who does? Who could be Dwayne Johnson?
Well said. What about Maui from Moana? Whoever did Maui from Moana. So I really liked the movie. I thought that it was a lot of fun. It's got a ton of 80s references and culture in it, but it's not just a nostalgia piece of fan service. It has real character. The screenplay is super tight. There's an old movie writing a screenplay cliche. It's not a cliche, it's just a saying. Like if you introduce a gun in I think it's in Act 2, but it might be in Act 1. If you introduce a gun in Act 2, someone has to use it in Act 3. That's the rule of screenwriting. If you introduce a plot point, you have to use the plot point. So many movies don't use the plot points they introduce. It's just business to fill time. Everything this movie introduces, they introduce something very early on and then pay it off later in a very organic way. Our main characters have mystery to them that we discover as the movie unfolds. They don't just... We watched Jurassic Park Fallen Kingdom. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
World, it's not a park, it's a world.
It's a world. It's the whole wide world. And there was a sloppy... Listen, that movie was okay. Screenplay, very sloppy. And there was a line of exposition. There was a line of exposition that was so clumsy. I'm not going to spoil it because it's kind of an important plot point, but it was someone basically explaining something that should have had weight and should have been like, whoa, but they just like hammer it out so fast. There's no...
in a very awkward way,
yes,
too.
It was terrible.
Like, wait, what?
And that's very common, honestly. Like when you learn to look for these things from a screenwriting perspective, you're like, oh, that's so... What a terrible way to bring people into what you're trying to tell them. This movie does it very well. The screenwriting was very fantastic, in my opinion. Again, trying hard for the humor, but, who knows where that comes from. But the important things are the heart, the characterization. We care about this. We care about Bumblebee, who does not exist. He's a completely CGI character.
He's a robot.
That you don't... Like, we've watched the Transformers movie. Well, we watched one together.
Yeah.
And you have no memory of it.
Well, my only memory is Megan Fox. And that's really about it. So...
I think
it didn't make a big impression.
There's probably some people watching this, and that's their main takeaway from that.
That's theirs too. Probably not for the same reason as mine.
Maybe not. But yeah. So like, he's a completely CGI character, and yet
very sympathetic.
Very sympathetic.
You care about him a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think that's probably a good place to leave it. We had a great. We really enjoyed it. I don't think it's a great. I don't think it's like a 10. Like we really loved Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, I was thinking about that when we were in the movie theater because when we went to see Into the Spider-Verse, there was not one moment where I was off thinking about something else in my head. I was really following the movie. I wasn't like, I wonder if I've got any emails or let me check my phone. But during this movie, I didn't take my phone out because I don't do that. But I did, like, I felt my watch buzzing and I was like, I wonder what that is. Should I check and see who that is or if it's important?
Yeah.
But
it has some time
when
some
you're
slow
just,
parts.
Yeah.
But
it was still good.
And as far as the Transformers movies, the Hasbro movies, let's just say that as far as the Hasbro movies, all the Transformers movies from Michael Bay, G.I. Joe, Rise of Cobra, G.I. Joe, what's the name of the G.I. Joe? I will remember as soon as I stop. But the one with Dwayne Johnson in it. Mm-hmm. Like this movie's better than all of those, and I like some of those. I really like the G.I. Joe one with Dwayne Johnson that I can't remember the name of. Mm-hmm. I want to say it's Resolute, but that's not right.
I don't know.
Yeah, like it's really good. I feel very comfortable recommending it. I actually can't wait till this comes to home video. Yeah. Just like with Spider-Verse, like I just want to watch this movie.
Yeah.
It made me feel good. It reminded me of the way that Transformers honestly used to make me feel. Mm-hmm. When I read Transformers comics still from IDW, when I watch the Transformers cartoons, all the cartoons. Like downstairs we have Armada, like Transformers Armada, Energon. Don't have Cybertron. I need to get Cybertron. All the Generation 1 stuff. They have a feeling. They're heroic. They're optimistic. There's this. I mean, it's like watching a good superhero story.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of been missing. This is the Transformers movie that I've been waiting on for a long time. And I'm actually really excited that it's here. And there's room for more.
Oh, yeah, totally. I was wondering that at the end of the movie. Like, I wonder if they're going to continue with this and maybe a trilogy or...
Yeah.
It's like to me, even though I only remember the first Michael Bay Transformers movie, it seems like... Maybe I watched some of the second one with you.
I think you did.
I probably did, but I just repressed it in the back of my brain.
And I know there's some of you guys who you're young and like that is your Transformers.
Hey, great. I'm glad you like it.
Yes, we're not trying to
it's
like.
It's just not our thing.
Yeah.
But this felt like really different, and like maybe that they could go somewhere with
there's
this in this direction, rather than the Michael Bay direction.
The reviews are great. The audience scores are great. We'll see how it does financially, but I would love to see at least a trilogy.
Yeah.
Because the way this is set up, again, no spoilers, but the way this is set up is for more Generation 1 Transformers stories. And I think that there's a lot of Transformers fans out there. That's what they want.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
It'd be great if they did.
Yeah. Nostalgia is everything right now. Everything old is cool right now. Vinyl. I mean, like all these 80s properties are like on the top of the world right now. So fingers crossed. I want more. I really do. Guys, that's our review. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think we covered it.
Go see Bumblebee. Bumblebee is good. We like Bumblebee. Yes. Bumblebee is the Transformers movie that Transformers deserves. With that being said, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for listening to us talk about Bumblebee. If you saw it, what did you think about it? If you didn't see it, will you?
You should, I think.
Yeah, I think you should too. So guys, that's it. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, and we will catch you later.